Japan is known for being an organized, safe country full of good manners. In fact, we recently made a video showing the extent of this organization. It ranges from collecting trash and cleaning the soccer stadium after the game to maintaining order on the subway. If you haven't seen it yet, check out the video The Dark Side of Japan, because it shows exactly this other side of Japanese discipline. But all this organization starts very early, in schools. And that's where things get different from what most people are used to. The school environment has rules that go far beyond the basics. There are rules about hair, about how to walk in the hallway, about showing affection, about how to eat, and even about the color of underwear. Today, Bello Mundo will show you the strictest, most curious, and most unbelievable school rules in Japan. Number 1. Standardized school uniforms. We begin today's video by talking about something that immediately catches the eye: standardization. The school routine begins even before the first class. It starts when getting dressed. Uniforms are mandatory in virtually all schools and go far beyond simple clothing. They are a symbol of discipline, respect, and collective identity. Each school has its own model, but they all follow the same logic. Boys usually wear dark blazers, sometimes with gold buttons and high collars. Girls wear neutral skirts paired with bows or ties, knee-high socks, and closed-toe shoes. Nothing too flashy, nothing that deviates from the norm. There are summer and winter versions to ensure that no one breaks the rules, even on the hottest days. And the uniform is not just for school. It must also be worn on the way to and from school, because students represent the institution wherever they are wearing that outfit. Therefore, trying to personalize it is frowned upon. Folding the skirt, wearing a colorful backpack, or adding a different accessory can result in a warning. The goal is to create a look of equality, erase social differences, and put everyone on the same level, at least on the outside. But the idea of standardization doesn't stop with clothing. Number 2. Controlled appearance. If the school uniform is already strict, personal appearance goes even further. It is not enough to wear the school uniform. The body must also conform to the rules. In many institutions, students are not allowed to change anything about their natural appearance. No dyeing hair, no makeup, no colored nail polish, not even a simple accessory. Girls are prohibited from shaving their eyebrows or legs during the school year, and boys cannot grow beards or mustaches. They must always keep their faces clean-shaven. Hair is also subject to scrutiny. In addition to always being clean and tied back in some cases, it must retain its original color. If it is naturally light brown, students may even be required to prove it. Otherwise, they must dye it black to fit the standard considered correct within traditional Japanese aesthetics. In 2017, a case ended up attracting attention when a student sued the school after the administration ordered her to dye her hair black, even though she was born with brown hair. The case gained international attention and exposed how extreme these rules still are. But it's not just the color. Stylish haircuts are out of the question. Some schools prohibit undercuts, where the sides are shaved and the top is longer. And for some girls, even a simple ponytail is forbidden. The justification is absurd. They say that showing the nape of the neck can be provocative or immoral. These rules are part of a tradition known as Buraku Kosoku, which means black rules. These are ancient disciplinary codes that many schools still follow to the letter. Hair ties can only be black, brown, or navy blue. Bangs cannot cover the eyes, and nails must always be short, clean, without decoration or bright colors. If you want to wear nail polish, it can only be transparent or a light, almost invisible shade. It is visual policing that attempts to avoid any sign of individuality. The logic is the same as always. If everyone looks the same, no one gets distracted. No one stands out. No one complicates things. But even with all this, there are still schools that control one more detail. And this detail, for many people, crosses the line. Number 3. Standardization of underwear. If you think that control in Japanese schools stops at appearance, it's because you haven't heard about the rule on the color of underwear. For a long time, several schools required students to wear white underwear under their uniforms. White, always white. No patterned panties, blue underwear, or colored bras. The justification was the same as always: to avoid distractions, to prevent anything from drawing attention under the fabric, to avoid anything that deviated from the standard. The argument seemed practical. White doesn't show, white doesn't catch the eye, so there you go, everyone in white. In theory, most teachers only called attention when a colored garment was visible. But in practice, this opened the door to absurdities. There were cases where teachers pulled on the straps of students' bras through the collars of their shirts to check the color. In other schools, periodic inspections were carried out to check what the girls were wearing. That's right, a specific day on the calendar just to check the color of their underwear. The practice became a scandal, generating protests and much controversy. Over time, several schools abandoned this rule, recognizing that it was invasive and humiliating. But the mentality behind it has not completely disappeared. In some more conservative regions, this requirement still survives, even if no one talks openly about it anymore. Number 4. School cleaning. Unlike in many countries, Japanese schools do not have janitors in charge of daily cleaning. Instead of hiring staff to clean schools, Japan teaches something different. The students themselves clean the floors, bathrooms, and blackboards, and so do the teachers. Every day, after class or at separate times, students divide into groups. Some sweep the hallway, others clean the desks, some wash the bathrooms, and there is always a group responsible for collecting trash. This practice has a name and a purpose. It is called osuji, and it goes far beyond sweeping. From an early age, Japanese people learn that keeping the space clean is a collective duty. And more than that no one is above the task of cleaning. Not even the youngest student or the oldest teacher. The goal is not to save on labor, but to teach values such as respect, responsibility, and cooperation. Everyone learns to take care of the space they use, not to leave dirt for others, to value the common environment. This is reflected outside of school. It is no coincidence that the streets of Japanese cities are clean, even with few trash cans. The culture of cleaning up what you dirty starts early and accompanies citizens throughout their lives. Number 5. Changing shoes when entering school. Even before arriving in the classroom, Japanese students go through a ritual. At the school entrance, they take off their outdoor shoes, bend down carefully, and pick up a pair of clean shoes stored in their own locker. These are uwabaki, shoes worn only inside the school. And it's not a matter of choice. Everyone does it. Every day. From childhood. The space where you walk must be clean, and the school floor deserves the same respect as your own home. Therefore, entering with sneakers or outdoor shoes would be rude, and there is no need for signs or warnings. The custom is so ingrained that no one forgets it. Uwabaki are lightweight, usually white or in very discreet colors. They are easy to put on and take off. And they are not just part of hygiene, they also represent a kind of transition. When students change their shoes, they also change their focus. They leave the outside world and enter a collective space where everything works with discipline. In addition to preventing dirt, this custom reinforces the idea that the school environment is a place that deserves care. Number 6. Mandatory school lunch. In most schools in Japan, lunch is not a free choice. No one brings snacks from home, no one chooses what they want to eat, and no one stops by the cafeteria. There is a single menu. Food is served in the classroom, and everyone eats together. This meal, called kyushoku, is carefully planned. It usually comes with rice, cooked vegetables, a protein such as fish or chicken, soup, and milk. Nothing is random. Each dish is designed to ensure that students get all the nutrients they need for the day. But the goal goes far beyond feeding. The unified school lunch policy has several purposes. First, to ensure that all children eat well and have the energy to study. Second, to teach good habits and gratitude. Before starting to eat, everyone gives thanks aloud for the food and for the work of those who prepared it. And no one leaves leftovers on their plate. Wasting food is disrespectful. In addition, eating lunch together reinforces the idea of community. Eating the same dish at the same time creates bonds and equality within the classroom. This rule is stricter in elementary school. In high school, some schools allow students to bring snacks from home. But during compulsory education, lunch is provided by the school. Period. To many outsiders, this may seem strange, but in Japan, eating lunch together is seen as part of education, just as important as math or Japanese. Number 7. Formal greeting to teachers. In addition to eating and giving thanks for the food, do you know what else shows respect? Greeting the teacher. After talking about rules and routine, there is one that is perhaps the most symbolic of all: greeting the teacher. Even before class begins, the entire classroom is already in a respectful mood. The teacher appears at the door, and within seconds all the students are standing. They bow slightly and say in unison, "Kiritsu, rei, onegai shimasu." This is a command of etiquette where kiritsu means stand up, rei means bow, and onegai shimasu is a request for please. The complete phrase instructs students to stand up and bow in respect, asking for instruction or establishing a learning relationship, which is equivalent to "please, let's start class," or "please teach me." And when the time is up, the ritual is repeated. Another bow, another thank you, and only then does the class end. The gesture seems simple, but it is full of purpose. It teaches discipline, focus, and above all, gratitude. There, the teacher is not treated as a school employee. They are someone who deserves respect and attention. Number 8. Substitute teachers. Still on the subject of teachers, there is a curious situation. In many places, when a teacher is absent, the school tries to find a substitute. If they can't, the students are dismissed, go to the playground, chat, or do some other activity until the next class. But there, it's different. When the teacher doesn't show up, the class stays in the room, alone. No messing around, no noise. These periods are called jikan yutu, or free periods. However, contrary to what the name suggests, no one is left with nothing to do. The students simply open their notebooks and continue studying, in silence with no one to tell them what to do. And the most impressive thing is that it works. There is no monitor, no substitute, and yet everyone behaves. The school trusts them and they respond in kind. The class organizes itself, reviews the material, and carries on with the normal rhythm of the day. The substitute only comes in when the regular teacher needs to be away for a long time. Number 9. Punctuality. You know that story about being 5 minutes late? Well, forget it. In Japan, that simply doesn't exist. Arriving late to school is almost an offense. Punctuality is part of Japanese culture, and in schools, it is taken seriously. Classes start around 8:30 a.m., but students arrive earlier. Much earlier. Anyone who shows up after the bell rings receives a warning, unless they have a very serious reason. And if you are late several times in a row, things get even worse. In many schools, anyone who accumulates 5 unexcused tardies must redeem themselves by helping to clean the classroom for a week. In other words, the punishment for being late is to work harder. No standing in the corner. It's hands-on work. Most prefer to arrive early, sometimes well before class, just to make sure they don't fail anyone. That's why Japan runs like clockwork, and when class is over, many still stay to participate in clubs and extracurricular activities. Number 10. Clubs and extracurricular activities. The end of classes in Japan doesn't mean the day is over. In fact, that's when the school routine really begins. Almost every student is part of a club, and it's not really a choice. It's practically mandatory, or at least strongly encouraged. These clubs, called bukatsu, are the heart of school life. There's everything: baseball, judo, soccer, tennis, painting, theater, music, calligraphy, science, cooking, and even chess. Each student chooses at least one and really dedicates themselves to it. Meetings take place almost every day after school and, in many cases, even on Saturdays. Those who join a sports club train hard as if they were professional athletes. It's pure discipline. Number 11. Saturday classes. If studying from Monday to Friday and participating in extra activities after school already seems tough, imagine facing another day of classes on the weekend. Well, that's normal there. For a long time, all schools operated 6 days a week. Classes went until Saturday, without exception. Later, the government tried to ease the routine by creating a 5-day week, but many institutions, especially high schools, preferred to keep Saturday as part of the calendar. In some, Saturday is used to review content, take practice tests, or participate in clubs and extra activities. No sleeping in or lingering over breakfast. While much of the world relaxes, students continue to study. Number 12. Dating is prohibited. All over the world, it's normal for teenagers to be interested in each other. It's the phase of first loves, exchange notes, and shy glances in the hallway. But here, that's something that stays outside of school. In many institutions, dating is prohibited. You can't hold hands, exchange notes, or show affection in the school environment. The justification is that the focus should be completely on studies. Teachers and principals believe that relationships at this age bring distraction, drama, and even gossip, everything that takes the group's focus away. That is why several schools have a rule that dating is prohibited, and the rule is taken seriously. Of course, feelings do not follow rules. Some students fall in love anyway, send hidden messages, and arrange to meet outside of school. But if they are discovered, the atmosphere becomes tense. The idea behind this strictness is to preserve a harmonious environment and maintain collective focus. Some schools have begun to rethink the ban, but in most of them, love remains a topic for after graduation. Number 13. Confiscated cell phones. And to conclude our journey through Japanese schools, here's a rule that affects almost everyone: cell phones. Nowadays, it's hard to imagine anyone without a phone in their hand, but inside school, the rules are different. Most schools simply do not allow their use during class hours. Some go even further. They collect the devices right at the entrance. Each student hands their cell phone to a teacher or keeps it in a locked locker and can only get it back at the end of the day, all to avoid distractions. Without their phone nearby, no one is texting, playing games, or checking social media in the middle of class. This policy is taken seriously. If a student is caught using their cell phone without permission, the device may be confiscated and their parents called in for a talk. In some cases, the phone can only be turned off in the backpack, and even then only for emergencies on the way home. In recent years, some schools have relaxed this rule a little, mainly for safety reasons after natural disasters. Even so, the principle remains the same. Inside the school, the focus is entirely on classes. There, putting away your cell phone means concentrating, and if you want to connect, it should be with learning. And so we end our journey through the most disciplined schools on the planet. After learning about all these rules, could you study in a place like this with such a strict routine and zero room for improvisation? Or do you think you wouldn't last a week following so many rules? Tell us in the comments, and thank you for watching another video here at Bello Mundo. See you at the next destination. Until then,